Gem. 2 timing. You know something, Gem? Said Rio, his handsome features crinkling into a puzzled frown. I don't think I've ever seen you and Jerica together. That's kind of strange, isn't it? Gem was giving her makeup a final check before going on stage. Surprised at the question, she hastily pulled her eyeliner down across her cheek to leave an unsightly mark. Hey, steady on, or you'll start to look like one of the misfits, joked Rio. I know it's an important concert tonight, but there's no need to get so nervous. Gem forced a smile. She knew very well why Rio never saw Jerica and Gem together. They were one and the same person. The change in appearance was brought about by Synergy, the amazing holographic computer, and although Rio was Gem's manager and Jerica's boyfriend, he did not know of the connection between the 2 girls. Where is Jerica? Asked Rio, glancing anxiously at his watch. I left a message on her answer phone telling her to meet me in the restaurant before the concert began. Something must have cropped up, suggested Kimber. Maybe she got caught up in the traffic, added Aja. The holograms could have told Rio that Jerica was in the same room at that second, but they loyally kept their secret to themselves. Rio stood up, straightened his immaculate black velvet suit, and grinned at the girls. Good luck, he said. Not that you'll need it, because you're the best. He caught hold of Gem's hand as he walked past her and said quietly, You look really great, Gem. That outfit's sensational. He never says that to me, said Shayna mischievously when Rio had gone. I reckon that he fancies you, Gem, teased Kimber. He better not, remarked Gem with a smile, or else I'll tell Jerica. The hall was packed with top celebrities from the entertainment world, and the stage acts were being relayed live so that millions more could watch on TV. Gem whirled round the stage to the pounding beat of the hologram's music, her silver flying suit shining and glittering in the spotlights. The house lights had been raised at the end of one number, and Gem had caught a split-second glimpse of Rio, who was sitting in the exclusive restaurant area at the front of the hall. 2 important-looking men were with him, and Gem did not need to hear their conversation to know that a heated argument was taking place. As Gem danced past Kimber, she whispered, Okay, kid, you're on. It's time for a music solo while Jerica appears. Straight away, Kimber strode center stage to a thunder of applause, and Gem moved off stage. Showtime's over, Synergy, said Gem, as she touched her earrings, which linked her to the computer. Next second, the transformation had taken place. Jerica Benton moved into the concert hall, pushing her blue and white striped hat further down on her head and adjusting her blue-tinted glasses. Rio waved her to his table. He stood up, took her hand, and offered her a seat, but did not smile the special smile that he usually saved for her. Where have you been? He said angrily. Didn't you get my message? No, I was out of the office, admitted Jerica truthfully. She couldn't explain that she had left with no one knowing in order that she could become Gem. You should have left a phone number where I could contact you, continued Rio. I got an urgent message that the de Courville brothers wanted to meet us to discuss the possibility of putting up the money for a world tour for Gem and the Holograms. When those guys realized that no one from Starlight Music had bothered to turn up, they just stormed out. I'm sorry, said Jerica lamely. Sorry's not enough, persisted Rio. A big deal's fallen through because we weren't organized. If you aren't going to give 100% to Starlight Music, then it may be better if you just hand everything to Eric Raymond and let him run things his way. Rio, cried Jerica, that's a horrible thing to say. Unable to stem the flood of tears, Jerica turned away from Rio and blindly made her way to the exit. Seconds later, Gem was back on stage, pouring all her emotion into a sad love song about a romance that ended after a quarrel. What a show! What a show! Beamed Rio as the girls returned to their dressing room. If the row with Jerica was bothering him, he was not letting it show. "Jem," said Rio, as he gently took the singer's arm, "I wonder if we could have a talk about something." "Sure," smiled Jem. "Go right ahead." "I wasn't meaning right now," said Rio, frowning slightly. "And I wasn't meaning it in front of the other girls. I thought perhaps you'd meet me for dinner tomorrow night." "You're going out with Jerica tomorrow night," said Jem sharply, before she could stop herself. "Oh, that's right," admitted Rio. "Good thing she mentioned it to you, or I'd have been double booked." Jem made no reply, but Rio continued. "Oh, what about the night after?" "Okay," agreed Jem frostily. Rio patted her arm and smiled at her, saying, "I'll meet you at the Starlight offices around 8. The following evening, Rio called round for Jerica, carrying a gigantic bunch of beautiful roses. He apologized for the scene that had taken place between them, and assured her he had only been so bad-tempered because he desperately wanted Starlight music to be a success. Jerica had hoped that Rio might have suggested taking her to a romantic restaurant. Instead, he decided that the two of them should go for a drive. "Can we go out for a meal tomorrow, Rio?" asked Jerica. "Oh, I can't see you tomorrow," said Rio apologetically. "Doing anything special?" queried Jerica, trying to sound unconcerned. "No, not really," replied Rio, before lapsing into silence and staring at the road in front of him. They drove round the countryside for a while. Jerica was deep in thought, wondering why Rio was not telling her about his date with Jem. As they returned home, Rio suggested getting a takeaway meal. When he was out of the car, the glove compartment fell open and Rio's diary spilled out. It lay open at the page listing his engagements for that week. Jerica couldn't help noticing the entry for the following evening. It read, 8, meet Jem, table for 2 at the City Lights. The restaurant was one of the most exclusive and expensive in the city. It was also noted for its romantic setting and atmosphere, the kind of place where a girl was taken by an admirer who wanted to make her feel that she was really someone. Jerica would have loved to have gone there, but Rio hadn't asked her. He had asked Jem. Angrily, Jerica put the book away just as Rio appeared. "Sorry," he said, looking sheepish. "They were just closing and there wasn't much left. I hope it's okay." He handed Jerica a dry-looking hamburger and some overdone French fries wrapped in a newspaper. Jem hadn't been sure what to wear that evening. She toyed with the idea of putting on a pair of battered old jeans and jumper to embarrass Rio. She even considered turning up as Jerica and apologizing for Jem's absence to see what Rio's reaction would be. She settled for yellow trousers, matching hat and purple shoes, with an off-the-shoulder top of the same color. Rio was wearing a smart suit and looked relaxed and very handsome. As Rio and Jem made their way up the steps into the restaurant, they were met by some press photographers. "Let's have a smile, please," called one. "What about giving Jem a kiss?" suggested another. Before Jem could protest, Rio had put an arm round her shoulder and kissed her on the cheek. "What will Jerica say when that photograph appears in the paper?" asked Jem accusingly. Rio only laughed. "Jerica understands that we're good friends," he said. A waiter led the couple to a candlelit table that had a wonderful view of the lights of the city, stretched out as far as the eye could see. "This is a great place," said Rio. "You want to bring Jerica here sometime," returned Jem acidly. Rio became serious. He leaned forward and looked into Jem's eyes. "I've got something to talk to you about," he said. "It concerns Jerica." Jem's heart started to beat faster. Was Rio about to say that he had decided to finish with Jerica and that he was hoping to transfer his affections to Jem? At that moment, a rotund, smiling man came over to them. He grinned at Rio and bowed politely before Jem. "Everything is ready for you, Rio. Please come through when you like," said the man. "Hey, what gives?" asked Jem, intrigued to know what was happening. "I want to ask you a favor," said Rio. "Look, I hope you don't think I've got a cheek asking you here like this, but the whole thing had to be a secret." "Rio, will you kindly stop talking in riddles and explain?" "My old friend Carl Williams runs this place," said Rio. "He used to be in the music business, and I know that he still has a small recording studio in his apartment. He agreed that we could call around one night and do some recording. You want to make a new record now? Asked a puzzled Jem. Rio, have you gone crazy or have I? Well, perhaps it was a crazy idea, laughed Rio. But you see, Jem, it's Jerica's birthday very soon. I thought it would be great if Jem and the Holograms made a special record just for her. We could use one of your existing hits and put a voice over with new lyrics. He produced a sheaf of papers from the inside pocket of his jacket and handed them across to Jem. I wrote these lyrics, Rio said, trying not to look embarrassed. They tell Jerica how much she means to the group and how special she is to me. All at once, Jem realized what was happening. Rio had made all these secret arrangements so that Jerica could have a very special birthday present, and she had wondered if he had become a two-timer. Sorry I couldn't tell you before, said Rio. But you know how friendly Jerica is with the other girls. I was afraid that the secret might get out if all the Holograms knew what I was up to. If you don't want to sing the vocal for the recording, I'll quite understand. It's a lovely idea, Rio, said Jem, slipping her hand into his. And after you've brought me to this great restaurant, how could I say no? Well, to be honest, Jem, I'm not paying the bill tonight, confessed Rio. Carl Williams has insisted that we have this evening on him. Ready to make that recording? Ready and waiting. And you won't tell Jerica about this, will you? Pleaded Rio. I'll do my best not to, said Jem, trying not to smile. The candles reflected their light in Rio's eyes, and on impulse, Jem leaned across the table and kissed him. It really is a good idea, Rio, said Jem. Jerica's really lucky having you to look after her. As if from nowhere, a photographer appeared, and there was a sudden camera flash. Take it easy, Jem, smiled Rio. I wouldn't want Jerica to see that picture in the papers and get the wrong idea about us. She might think I'm two-timing her. Oh, I'm sure she won't, said Jem. I'm sure she won't.